Hello and welcome to Issues with Issues. This is the week of May the 6th, and we have a pretty big week here for you today. Yeah, 8 books that I picked up. And we're going to start with our Marvel books, and then we'll move on to DC, and then we'll move on to what I've really been looking forward to. Let's pick all those up, put them over here, and pull them out. First, we'll start with issue 2 of the new Daredevil series. This has been a pretty good series so far. It's kept up the kind of high intensity mystery that the first issue set up. We have a new villain that can get through Matt's senses. He's a law professor. He's got all these people, these friends and people around him that he's trying to kind of navigate through life um, with this new enemy that showed up at the end of issue 1. Uh, Honestly, I think this kind of level of book is really good over at Marvel right now. Namely, this and Alias. And kind of, you can call them like Netflix characters, but like there's a very specific like street level, little bit grimy vibe to like a Daredevil or a Jessica Jones. That Marvel's doing really well right now, and I definitely recommend it. Um, a new thing we're gonna be doing on this channel, I'm gonna be rating these, turning these more into um, full like reviews, not like full reviews, but a little bit more reviews. Um, this is going to be this is like a 4 out of 5. Let's we'll do it out of 5. Um, Sets up some really great stakes, some really great art, some great characterization. I'm really excited to keep going. This is good. On the other hand, we have Spider-Man. Um, this is fine. This is Amazing Spider-Man. I'll put it on the screen. But it's fine. It's better than the Spiral Torment arc we just got. I forgot his name already. It's a little blurry, isn't it? I don't know. I'll try and fix that. But I'm already recording. So this it's better. We get some more of the cast from space who have kind of they've settled in on Earth. Peter's trying to juggle his life around again, trying to make sense of the stuff that happened while he was gone. And at the end, he gets a little bit of a pep talk from one of the new characters, Kitsurugi. Kitsurugi. He's named after that Japanese art of like fixing pottery with gold, and he tells Peter that like, oh, like sometimes the cracks can make us stronger. That's like the big thing at the end of this book, and or at the end of this issue, and that's kind of the lesson Peter takes away, and we'll see kind of how that goes forward. I am interested. Um, Hopefully, good Spider-Man book going forward. Hopefully that little throwaway arc we just got doesn't end up mattering too much because I haven't met somebody who liked it. Um, so that was our Marvel for this week. Pretty heavy week overall. So let's keep trucking on. Oh, this is a 2 out of 5. It's not the worst. It's not even the worst Spider-Man issue. It's the best Spider-Man issue published in like 2 months, which is saying something. But honestly, the last 2 months we've been getting that nothing arc. So 2 out of 5 for that one. Next, Batgirl. This is the like conclusion of this current arc. She's in the land of the dead. She's got blood curse. She's got her family, her half brother, her uncle, um, whole situation. They meet the god of blood. Uh, Uncle seems to betray, then turns back. We get a big lesson of not lesson, but a big moment at the end. Cassandra kind of reaffirming herself, and what she wants to be and what she is, and how her blood doesn't matter. Family is what you choose. And then she kind of takes the people she's been traveling with for this arc, and they meet the Bat family at the end. Um, so kind of like the people she has more blood ties to, and meeting her like found family. This has been really good. This is the second issue I've read, so and I've been really using this book uh, as like a test to test my thesis that you really can just pick up a comic book and read it. And it doesn't matter if it's in the middle of a story arc. If you know the basics about the character, you can pick it up through context clues or through the little like context boxes that they'll write or exposition that people say. You can get enough of it that you can still enjoy the story and start from almost anywhere. And I think this has proved it. And I'm really excited to see where Batgirl goes. I don't know if the writer is going to be continuing after this arc. I hope they will. What I've seen has been really good. The art has also been phenomenal. I think this is. I want to say a 4 out of 5. I think I'd put it a little bit below Daredevil, but I think it's still in the 4 out of 5 range. That to the side. And we have Batman and Static Beyond. This is the conclusion of this story, and it is, I think, maybe the best full issue. It's like it wraps everything up. We've got some good moments from the characters. The only real issue is an issue I've been having. Seems like I say this every single time I mention this book, and that's this should have been a Static Beyond book. The entire story centers around him. Batman seems a little forced in, and especially the Justice League seems a little bit forced in. It really seems like an editorial mandate of like, oh, if you're gonna do something in the Beyond future, you've got to have Batman. Maybe have the Justice League. Well, maybe this leads to something in the future. Maybe we'll get more Beyond, and this is like a jumping on point because we did get some stuff left off with the was like space. Earth is maybe joining this like coalition of planets. That doesn't seem to be happening. But Earth was like attacked by these mercenary forces while we're dealing with like a small personal story with the main villain. It seems like too much. Um, it seems it really seems like an editorial mandate to put as much Beyond stuff in here as possible, and I think this book ultimately suffers for it. It should have just been a Static Beyond book. We would have been able to get a much bigger focus on the static characters, the future Dakota characters, which there are a couple. We can really tell the story about this young kid who gets these powers and sees himself as a monster and starts lashing out at the world. And Static dealing with that and trying to reach out to him, uh, while also trying to stop his like rampages from hurting people. I think this works as a Static book. I don't think it works as a Batman book necessarily. He does get a couple good moments in this. If you didn't know, Batman Beyond is my favorite DC character. So it's a little bittersweet where I'm always happy to see him, and he gets some moments in this where he's treated differently in this last issue than he is in most of the other issues. He's treated as like a competent, kind of confident in himself Batman, and he knows what he's doing. Um, Even though he is like a show era, like late high school aged Terry McGinnis. And that really showed earlier in the series where he was more like the show where he'd fuck up and then he'd kind of have to get back on his feet or get a lecture. Um, he's better in this, but still, I don't think he needs to be here as much as I'm sad to say it. I think a Batman Beyond, a Justice League Beyond, and a Static Beyond book going on at the same time would have been great. And I think there's a lot of greatness in this, but I think a lot of it is clouded by how kind of stuffed full the book feels. So this issue, I think I'd put it on like mid 3 out of 5 is where I'd put it. Um, it's got a lot of good, but a lot of unnecessary stuff as well. And that's kind of the rating I'd give the series as a whole. Um, it just like the problems just persisted. It's the same problems every issue. Uh, but I am excited to see more Beyond stuff in the future, um, even through this creative team. Next, we're on to Batman. This is the main Batman book where this issue is all gearing up for this kind of next phase of Batman. They're destroying safe houses and blowing up Wayne Manor, and Batman's kind of reconnecting with Damian. And at the end of this issue, Barbara Gordon gets arrested, which will lead into the Barbara Gordon breakout series happening at some point. I don't know if I'm going to pick that one up. Um, we'll see. But this is a great book. I've really been enjoying this Batman book so far. We've got some great art, great character moments. I'm really interested in where the story is going. We got a little tease for Azrael. Um, Hopefully, we'll be seeing more of him. The Bat family is kind of storing some stuff that was in safe houses with him. So yeah, hopefully he keeps showing up. We got Signal, we got Spoiler. Not Spoiler, she's Batgirl. She just has like a mostly spoiler costume. And Batman and Robin. Damian, we got a little bit of the retired Tim Drake. Not a whole lot. So we will see where this is going, and I am very interested on how this affects Batman going forward. Um, you know, 10 years ago or whenever, I probably would read this book and go, okay, well, everything's gonna go back to normal at the end of the story. But Alfred's been dead for a while, man. They've let that sit, and it's like kind of permanently changed the Bat mythos's like daily operations. Like their status quo has been altered. So I am interested to see if this is going to lead to lasting change, or even if it's just for this kind of story while Vandal Savage is uh, he's the commissioner, GCPD, while Poison Ivy's mayor. Where's that's going to go? How's that going to end? I mean, Wayne Manor's blown up. You can't really go back to that. Um, yeah, overall, this is. I think I'd probably put this on par with the Daredevil issue. So like a strong 4 out of 5. Now we're moving on to Absolute. We got 2 Absolute books this week. Starting off with Absolute Green Lantern. This is things are gearing up in this book, and I think if they had taken much longer to gear up, I would have dropped this book. But we're starting to get more of not like exposition dumps about how the power works, but we're being kind of shown, and it's more natural, and stuff is happening. Things aren't stopping to explain stuff, and then things happen, and then stopping to explain stuff, like a lot of this early book was. Uh, we've got action coming. We've got conflicts among the characters. We're introducing this much larger conflict where we have Hector Hammond on Earth, but then we have the Dark Stars led by Sinestro in space. But then also we have conflicts within the light with between like Tomar Ray and Joe. And who knows what's happening to Hal Jordan. And um, I have I have been enjoying the last couple issues of this as stuff has been going on. Um, I wouldn't necessarily, recommend going and ordering issues, ordering all the issues from like Midtown, or some other comic. I'd probably, if you want to start this series, wait for the trades, at least for that early bit, and then you can kind of go into the issues, well, starting around 12. If I remember right, like 11, 12. You get into the issues, that's where things start happening and get interesting. And it kind of carries the interest of like buying this month to month. Um, this is Absolute Green Lantern 14 is it's a 3 out of 5. I think it's not on the bottom end of 3 out of 5, but it's still a 3 out of 5. Next, we have the second Absolute book this week, Absolute Superman. This is following up on the revival of Teth Adam in last issue. Vandal Savage is presumably dead. He, Black Adam, we'll just call him, is kind of fighting Superman. Superman doesn't kind of really want to fight him. He wants to kind of calm him down and have someone he can relate to and maybe can help him and they can talk to each other, but Black Adam kind of isn't having it. We got a lot of interesting like parallels between them. They have not the same powers, but similar powers with capes of dust. So we'll see how that goes on. This issue ends off with Superman, Black Adam, Hawkman, and Steel kind of all together, staring each other down. Pretty good. This is probably like, I think it's high 3 out of 5 or very low 4 out of 5. I think. Probably low 4 out of 5. If I had to find a place for it. We'll see kind of where this goes. How he's gonna solve the Black Adam issue, and hopefully we'll get some pretty good action, even if he does eventually talk him down. Oh, and then that's it for DC this week. But we have one non-big two issue. This is one of my most anticipated comics, maybe ever. I was a huge Ben 10 fan as a kid. I grew up right at the perfect time, where as soon as I got old enough, Ben 10 hit the screens, Ben 10 action figures, and the Omnitrix, like toys and stuff, hit the shelves at stores, and this is all I wanted to be ever. In fact, I had an Omnitrix as a kid. It took, I don't know, 10 minutes to put on if I was trying to put it on alone, just because the way the rubber band never wanted to fit in correctly. And I took it to the beach so many times because I wanted to be Ripjaws. Then it got sand all in it, and whenever I'd turn the dial, it'd crunch. I really wish I still had that. That'd be a nice little sentimental thing. But I think that eventually got thrown away. It's just never worked. I say never worked. It stopped working after I swam with it a bunch and got sand in it. But this issue starts off. This is a solid start. I wouldn't say it's a exceptional or anything. We get a couple aliens. We get Heat Blast and Forearms. We see Vilgax, which I'm not the biggest fan of the design of. He waxes poetic a little bit. He seems more like Mongol from DC, if that makes sense, where he's this like warlord, but he might have some big words to say about it every once in a while. Um, so we'll see how that goes. They introduced the military way earlier in the comic series, so it really seems like Ben's gonna be kind of hunted from two fronts. Um, I think the main weakness of this issue is it. I think they're trying to set up the series very quickly and get everybody like kind of understood and on the same page so they can keep going. We get some parallels to the original, but it can feel a little bit expositing sometimes. Um, there's a little bit of wonky, uh, like modern lingo. Like Ben uses the term rage bait, which comes off a little authentic, but not so authentic that it completely takes you out of the book. Um, it's better written than a lot of adults writing kids. Um, but yeah, I think it does suffer from that kind of speedy, get everybody on the same page. Things just kind of happen very quickly. Um, People are explaining themselves. I think they do a better job of it than like for example Absolute Green Lantern used to, where it's mostly in well like on the surface level can feel like natural dialogue, but because there's so much of it, you start being able to like read beyond those lines if that makes sense. Where you're like, "Oh, would someone have worded it exactly like that?" Maybe, but then a couple lines later you're like, "Well, would they have said it exactly like that?" And then maybe, and there's enough of those maybes that you kind of realize what they're doing. Um, but I think is kind of fine for a first issue. Kind of speed through, get people knowing that this is Ben 10, but different. If you're a fan of the series, you'll get it. And uh, and hopefully you're as excited as I am. If you've got a local comic book shop around that's stocking this, mine got quite a few issues of this number one. So if you have a local comic shop, go out pick it up, show support. If you don't, like a Midtown Comics, you can buy it online. I can't imagine they're out of stock, though I have not checked. Um, and worst comes to worst, order it digitally on like a Comixology, even just like through straight through Amazon or just wherever you get comics. If you can, pay for if you can and you're a fan of the series, pay for this comic to show the creators and most importantly the businessmen paying the creators that we want this book, we want more of this book, and hopefully we'll have a whole long line of Dynamite Ben 10 stories. I mean, Dynamite has been doing pretty well with old like cartoon properties. They've got a Space Ghost book out right now. Thundercats. I think they're doing a Thundercats Silverhawks crossover event right now. I think the first issue of that came out today, and I ended up now picking it up because this was a little bit of a heavy week. Um, if we've got extras next week and it's a lighter week, I might pick it up late, but this was the main event. Um, yeah, this is. I mean, this is a low 4 out of 5. I am excited. I think the art's really good. It can be a little bit inconsistent, but I would rather inconsistent stylized art than super consistent boring art, if that makes sense. And we'll have to see where this series goes. I'm excited, not just because Ben 10. I am excited, even just a little bit from this issue. So yeah, we'll see where this goes and how it stacks up. And that was my pull list for this week. If you want to talk about any of these books down in the comments, I'll be happy to talk with you about them. You have anything that I should be picking up or any of these books that I should not be picking up, in your opinion, also put them down there. I'll be happy to talk with you about that. Other than that, do all the normal YouTube stuff. Liking and subscribing does help a lot, especially a very small channel like this. I am starting to put more effort into these weekly polls, and I'm hoping to get one, at least one, like higher effort, like planned out video done a month. I think um, I've got it written out. I don't know when I'll be able to get it posted, but hopefully sometime within the next week or two, I'll have a video on Black Clover, which just ended. That's the next one. But otherwise, these were great comics. I hope the comics you picked up, if you picked up any, were also great. And I will see you next week.